Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting top 5 video here at Playing Board Games with the usual Arkham Horror crew, me, Justin, Bryn, and Travis. Today we're doing our top 5 scenarios. Looking at the list, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a few curveballs, especially on my list. There's one that I was going through the list and I couldn't cut, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't.
Is top 5 scenarios really that exciting?
I think it is.
Because we just started doing these, and these are are we gonna pump out top 5 investigators next and call that one exciting?
Yes,
revolutionary ideas?
All of them are exciting because our opinions matter. Anyway, let's start with Bryn's number 5 top scenario, which is the Essex County Express. Wow, it looks so
Don't believe the picture, it's a train
it's
one.
actually about trains.
Yeah, that's the emergent monstrosity enemy.
It shows up for like 3 turns and then the game's over one way or the other.
I have zero recollection of that card art.
Yeah.
He's the one that spawns
He spawns at the very end.
No, he's the one that spawns one right of you, I believe. That might be the other one. All the monsters.
There's one of them that's like worth victory and spawns in the engine at the end.
Yes, yeah.
I thought that was this one. I don't know. Whatever.
I think the last 2 times I played this one, I died.
Yeah,
Trying to jump
real
over that
threat
one
of this
stupid train
scenario is the cultists who show up and start doing their ritual on the train.
No, it's that one car you have to
the
jump.
The real threat is where you gotta test foot 4 or foot 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
If you fail, you fall out of the train and die.
Yeah. It's tough.
When it wiped all of us out. Yeah.
That one's really hard.
No, I think I've died to that one the last 2 times I played this one. Anyway, why is it good?
This scenario has definitely been outclassed as the games move forward, but this was the first one that I played, and it really felt different than anything that had come before it.
Yes.
It's sort of like the idea of what could be done with this game.
And I think the flavor of it still really hits the mark,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the one that plays the quickest because you got to go quick. There's no time to sit around, right? Which I think is a success.
And they will be over fast that way too.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the first time we played it. It was like really revolutionary for us. We were just like, oh, the game's actually just gonna try and kill us.
Yeah. And the map also works really well. It's just it's a train.
It's a train.
It's a train.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gets much better once you add the return to set into it. And there's different train cars, and you're not sure which one the next one's going to be anymore.
Yeah, for a good chunk of this, especially when you get to my number 1, the returns twos do just make these better, right? Like, I think overall, so. My number 5 is one of the new ones, the Search for Kadath. This is the one where you got to go around and visit all the places in the Dreamlands to do various quests on small little 3-location maps. Pardon?
Boat one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah, one thing I really like is the flavor behind the game. The mechanics in the individual card design is very important to me, but the flavor of it and visiting all these otherworld locations, like getting 5 small slices of Arkham Horror lore in a very deep and personal way, because Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror don't feel personal, right? Because you have this whole city. This one you see 3 locations, and it tells a story about that place. And I didn't want this one to end. I just wanted to keep playing it.
On the subject of our other board games not providing a sort of background for it, why do you think I developed an affinity towards characters like Luke and Akachi that spend lots of time in the other worlds in Arkham Horror Second Edition? Yes, it's more fun.
Yeah. And this one I think is the biggest success in terms of exploring that area of it. It was really cool, especially when we came to Sarnath, and in Pathfinder they have a Haster themed adventure path where you go to the Dreamlands, and one of them is you go to Sarnath in the last night before Bakrug shows up. So I was just like, we got to get out of here. Bakrug, he's in the lake. Bakrug's in the lake, right?
And everyone's just like, what?
Yeah. It's really cool. I think they really nailed it, and also a lot of references to the short stories, which is a big thing for me too as well. Travis, your number 5 is The Secret Name. Speaking of the short stories.
Yeah, I like killing rats.
Yeah.
I like the design of this one a lot. It did a very neat job, I think, of making the most basic trash enemy in the core set into a real threat. Having Brown Jenkins come around while Godlow T is the 7th or 8th time you kill him is a very what's the word? Not unique, but very elegant way of allowing your non-clue getters to get clues to advance the game. You can actually just spend your time hunting down this rat man and interrogating him. And then there's a whole other half of the scenario, it turns out. Yeah, because every time we play this one, where we're like, oh my god, we have to play for another 10 turns.
Yeah, it's it's a 2-hour-long scenario, but it feels like 2 1-hour-long scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't outstay its welcome.
The second half is no slouch either, visiting all the different time period portals and stuff, and there's the glimpses into the future where there's like a before the Black Throne or something location you can visit, which is really cool to like look back on.
Yes. This one was my honorable mention. I think this one's very good as well. So, yeah, it's a good one.
Fuck you, Bear Jenkins.
All right, Bryn number 4 is the Unspeakable Oath. This is the one where you go into the Arkham Asylum and have to get out after doing a bunch of things. You don't have to get out.
I don't get out.
I think you got out the first time.
Yeah,
I got
definitely
out
did
the
the first time.
first time we played, and never since. Yeah, this is, I think, the first scenario where your character can be killed permanently. I'm pretty sure this is the first scenario in the game where if you do not succeed, you have to pick a different guy because your guy has received a lobotomy. And
Yeah, the other ones just like end the campaign from down.
yeah, like the other ones are just like game's over. That's it.
This is the one that also you can steal the keys from the lady, and then you just all get caught at the end if you do. It's just like it's like the final panic button of the four switches you can press, and then but it's like you get to keep playing, but you don't know it yet, but you are going to get eliminated for doing that, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool scenario.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah, it evolves as the thing goes on. At the beginning, you're just investigating a creepy asylum, and
then they get shuffled in, the lunatics.
Yeah, and then more and more things go wrong. You get locked in with the lunatics, and then the walls start closing in on you, and there's horrible monstrosities from the shadows.
I remember this one when we did our reviews of the scenarios. This was our highest rated in terms of theme, and I think it does very well at doing that.
I still think it holds up pretty good.
Yeah.
We've also, just as a group, had like a lot of really fun, a lot of really memorable playthroughs of this scenario.
Yes.
There's not a lot of scenarios that scare me.
But this one's scary, yeah.
This one's tough.
This one and a later one on your list has two big feelings of dread that can just kind of get, because
You go and die.
yeah, especially when you know your first time through, it's more fun. But as soon as you know the dread, then like the possibility of death, you're like, oh no.
I mean, like, I don't get the feeling of dread for those ones because I've never had an issue.
Well, that's because Bryn is usually the one who will fall on the sword for us to win. That's why you and I are both greedy.
Yeah.
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 My number 4 is the Depths of Yoth, and this one you have to run away from Yig. And my favorite thing about this one is that it gets worse before it gets better in terms of the dread that's going to go, because you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and they're still following you. And Yig's going to come out first because he's a big boy.
Yig's a baby.
I think he is my third favorite interpretation of the scenario 4 dealing with the big bad. I think Azathoth is the second best. He literally feels like you're getting fucked by something you cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
But Yig, I think, does a very good job of being the big bad and the leader of these snakes who's going to follow you and be like, get out of my house. And the feeling of going down, this was one of our favorites. I think this was our best rated one of whatever, it's the Forgotten Age, which is a very apt name, because I want,
I had 2 Forgotten Age scenarios on my initial list. This was one of them. Neither of them made my top 5, but...
Yeah. What was the other? Oh, yeah, I see it. That one is very good. The other one that you crossed off. What? Spoilers. Threads of Fate.
Yeah, I don't think anyone picked that one.
No. That's a good one, though. That is a pretty good one.
No, I really liked how this one, like, because in the previous ones, the build-up has always been to fighting the old one. Then you fight Yig, and you're like, but there's still another scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you even kill Yig, but then it turns out he's not actually dead.
Yeah. Yeah, we killed him on our first time.
Yeah,
And
we had like machine guns and stuff. It was like we planned on this.
Once I can plan for killing Yig, well, we're gonna kill him.
Yeah. And Yig is usually
with lots of bullets.
in all the other games. He is like except for Eldritch Horror, he's very hard in Eldritch Horror. But like in Arkham Horror, he's like, we're gonna wake him up and then just shoot him to death.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, like he's one of the most real old ones. He's just a big snake guy.
He's just a snake guy. The art's a bit too dinosaur-like for me, but what can you do, right?
I think that's mostly the coloring.
Yeah,
than anything
I would
else.
be- that's
And
being a
like
bit
the
picky.
frame.
It has nothing to do with the scenario. Travis, Beyond the Gates of Sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
go
was
for
the first one for. I mean, it can be the first one for Dreamlands.
it. Yeah.
And like
Doesn't it have to be?
No, you
No,
can
you
pick.
could do the other one without even doing. You could do only one of the adventures for the Dream Eaters.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
if you're gonna play all of them,
then yes, this
then
would be
this
the
has
first
to
one.
be the
Yeah.
first one.
No, you can like play the other one first, and then this one second. but there's like an interlude between after them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But
I
yeah,
didn't know that.
similar to Justin's comments on the other first potential scenario for the Dream Eaters campaign, this one I really enjoy how it lets you explore the Dreamlands. It's a really cool place.
Yes.
I really liked. It was just like telling a story more than playing a game, actually, especially for the first half of it, where you like go down
do all the challenges.
All the
and then
challenges,
You walk
gotta
from
fight
like
the pantless
the
man.
doorway to the actual like the dreamed wood, right? Like it's
And then you get to the forest, and like you can go back and watch our video, but we had a big discussion about whether we were going to try and stay on the path or not. And then like there's just all kinds of, and then you wander out into the forest, and it sucks.
Yeah.
There's like there's zoogs and there's like gugs, and they'll kill you.
I think the flavor of this half of the Dream Eater cycle is very good. I think the other one's not bad, but this half of the Dream Eater cycle is so
Well, it's just
good.
there's so much more to work with other
Yeah.
than like there's spiders in the real.
And I mean, at this point now we're in the Dreamlands in the
Yeah.
other half. Spoilers, you do eventually enter that, right? But yeah, I agree with this one, Travis. It's very good.
My favorite part about this one is how the two old men at the beginning are like, "Can you solve our riddle?" And you're like,
No.
or punch. What if I just hit you really?
I'll
And they're
punch you till you tell me
You're
the
like,
answer.
all right.
That works. That works.
That's an answer too.
Alright. Brains number 3 is the City of Archives.
So similarly to the last one, you don't necessarily make it out of this one, at least not as a whole person.
Yes.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened to us yet.
No, it hasn't yet.
Usually because there's like, I mean, of the 2 times we played this, you guys both died both times, right? Because
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have a build that was built for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this one's pretty neat though. You show up with a deck built for your investigator, and suddenly you're not you anymore.
yes.
You're a Yithian, and
Squid Boy.
yeah,
One
you
thing
gotta run around and solve squid problems.
I love about this one is that it uses the idea of your hand being knowledge as a flavor for it, right? Because you need to have like 12 cards in your hand
Yeah.
to escape, right? Which is scary.
I
It's
think that's a
it's
lot
always
of cards
yeah, it's
in
very
your hands.
climactic, the ending of this one. Like the climax is really good.
I think my favorite part of this one is the beginning where the Yithian guard is like, "No, stop that! You'll hurt yourself," and you're like, "God!" And you stab him in the neck, and
I'll
it's
hurt
like, "Oh
you."
God!"
He's like, I'm an vast intelligent being, and
Yeah.
now I'm dead. You
I
killed
think that's
me.
my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was also one of my honorable mentions. I didn't put it on my list because it's never happened to me. I said before we recorded that the idea of losing your relics
Yeah.
could be a bit
Oh man.
of a drain. It's only happened
Yeah,
to
it
Bryn though,
sucks.
because
Yeah.
we.
I mean, like whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's on his list and not ours.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so my number 3. This is a weird one, but I could not cut this one from my list. This is the Phantom of Truth. This is the one where you need to either escape or run away from the organist. If you watch back our first playthrough of this one, the excitement I had for it was palpable, because it's based on my favorite short story from the King in Yellow short fiction book, which is In the Court of the Dragon. It's a really good short story about a guy who is in a church and he hears this, like, just boom, 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 and he looks at the organist. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And the organist looks at him. He's like, "You fucked up now." And it's him walking home being pursued by this organist who eventually takes him to Carcosa, and he sees Hastur, and there's a really sick line, which is just a quote from the Bible, but the Bible's pretty metal at times. And the flavor we had, I feel the one where you have to run away from him is a bit more in line with the book, but I like the fact that also this one has 2 different
Yeah.
possibilities depending on how you approach it. I think the scenario itself is a bit grindy, but I wasn't able to find a way to cut this from my list, and I do like it more than the other 2 before this because of the story.
Yeah, there's definitely a point where like you get set up and like you just like you're gonna win and you just
Yeah.
have to like wait.
Yes.
But-
I wish there was a bit more mitigation to change that, but I think just how much it hits the book is really exciting.
The first time I played this one with my mom, and she was playing a purple character and had a blood pact, and was like, Doom can't make this advance. I'm just gonna use this for every test. So we ended up like walking into the second part with like almost 30 Doom in play, and I was just like,
Damn
Yep.
it.
this is gonna take forever.
Well, you were given the background on this one. I just realized that the art was like not just a mess of yellow with some squids and like a guy on it, and I thought it was completely unrelated to anything. But like I see now that it's Hastur like eating the guy.
Yes, yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
I saw your brain like turning while that was happening.
This isn't what I think it is.
All right, Travis, your number 3 is Before the Black Throne.
Yeah.
This is also Bryn's number 2, so we're just kind of, you guys will piggyback off this together.
Yeah.
I'm just even going to skip to it.
So, like, for this one, mine's, like, actually like 50-50. It's, like, Lost in Time and Space Before the Black Throne, because they're kind of the same scenario, or, like, very similar, at least, where, like, Before the Black Throne just kind of builds on it. Like, Lost in Time and Space is Before the Black Throne, but with an exploration deck, kind of. But the space theme's really, really cool. And in both of them, like having just like an overwhelming old one that you can't actually fight really, and who just sits there and shits on you from time to time. But like, you can tell that they're not like trying to actively attack you.
Yes.
They're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
It's
doing
really
their
cool.
thing. It's not personal. It's just good business.
And I feel like Azathoth interacts with you more than Yog-Sothoth, which makes this a bit more exciting than Lost in Time and Space. Because
Althoth interacts with you a whole lot if you get stuck in his realm.
it's true.
Yeah.
The return to Lost in Time and Space does a
Yeah.
pretty good job of making him
does.
a bit more of a threat.
Yeah, like the first time through, you can just kind of like finish it before he shows up.
Yeah.
But in the second one, or in the return to, you like he's there all the time. You're like, I don't want to be there. If I go there, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna die.
I think this one's also really awesome because of it feels broken.
Big.
It feels broken. You look at it and you're like, game no work like this, but game work like this. Yeah.
You get a cosmic motorcycle.
Yes.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
No, sliding around was really fun. Like deciding how to use your like little, like just again, it's a penultimate scenario where everything you've done comes together, and like all those mementos you were collecting for whatever garbage reason are actually worth something now.
No, this one's the last one.
Yeah, penultimate means second to
Oh.
last.
This
I
is
thought-
the ultimate one.
Wow,
Yeah.
I learned a new word today. I thought that just meant the most exciting one, or like the climax. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah, like you have to use mementos to like
Yes.
help slide around. You have to budget them out, and then like there's just weird things that can move through spaces that aren't there, and you're
Yes.
like,
You're like, how
that's not fair.
no work, but work. Yeah, and this one's also really challenging.
Yeah, it's hard.
I would say it's probably, apart from trying to do the perfect ending for Shattered Aeons, the hardest scenario. Because you get there like, we've done it! We've got to the Black Throne! What do you mean it has 10 Shroud? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I really feel like these two scenarios do the really, like they delivered on with Lost in Time and Space, and they just like delivered it again more on Before the Black Throne, like the cosmic horror of Lovecraft's mythos, in that like you're in outer space and it's so different from any other scenario you've played. Like your method of movement is different compared to all the other scenarios you've done, assuming that you're doing them in order. And it's just like on a scale that's so much bigger than all the other ones.
yeah. Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
So-
And I think the fact that also what makes Before the Black Throne so cool is how different it is than Lost in Time and Space, while following us a very similar idea, right? Which goes to the testament of the design of the game. Which is why it's just so good.
Yeah, I think that one's my favorite interpretation of Azathoth. It, like,
Yes.
Post like the other games, he's just the boring one.
Yeah, they really cop
He's the
out
one
on
you
him
play
in
the
other
first
ones.
time
Yeah.
because he doesn't do anything extra
Yeah.
or special. You just are learning
What's,
the rules.
what's
now.
funny in 3rd edition, he is not. They recommend playing him first, but he's actually, I think, the hardest one outside of Cthulhu.
Yeah, like he
Like-
might. It's not so much a difficult thing, I think, as it
It's just
is
so
like.
simple.
Yeah, it's just like you know, if this happens, you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas the
that's
other
it.
ones, like you can plan ahead to try and beat them after, but it's gonna be real hard, and you shouldn't do it.
It's also my favorite art for Azathoth. That is Azathoth. Just a big gaping maw
Yeah.
going like, I'm going to eat this planet when I wake up.
Yep.
I also like how that has one of my favorite card arts and flavor behind the card art with the hand that reaches out and slaps you.
Yeah, that one's good too. He's like, "You want my coin?" No.
My number 2 is Blood on the Altar. This is when you arrive in Dunwich Village for the first
He's in
time,
the bag.
and it's always Earl Sawyer. Someone commented on one of our videos of us being like, called it, hey, let that man go. And then the head pops out of the bag, and it's Earl Sawyer. We're like, oh, it's just Earl? You can go. It's okay. And Earl's like, what?
That's a fair compromise.
The flavor of this one has always stood out to me, and I always enjoy getting to it and seeing the town of Dunwich get formed and knowing that you have to find whatever his Silas Bishop and stop it, but at the same time you could potentially lose allies. Don't worry, it's probably going to be Earl Sawyer, and you can lose him.
One time we had Alice Luxley get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
that
think,
didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I just think this one, the flavor of going into the town is really cool, and the map being disconnected in a way that you can't just walk around it easily makes it a little bit of a challenge, and then you feel like you're actually searching through Dunwich Village to find the key and the secret room.
Yeah, no, I do like the way they have the map set up where it still feels like a town, but then they're like, you can't just walk over here because that's across the river. You have to go look where the bridge is.
Yes.
Or like there's like some hills here, and it'd be hard
Yeah.
harder than just walking through the town. You're like, okay.
My favorite one was where Justin got kidnapped by Naomi's boys.
Oh, and just stuck in the river.
That was good.
Just beating me in the river. That's what you get for stealing from Naomi. Stop!
Stuck in the location that you can only have one person in at a time.
And Bray and I were just like,
Okay.
I guess I'll do something else. But the whole kidnapped mechanic I think is really cool, and I still want to have one where Duke gets killed and then we can get the achievement of...
we'll have to achievement runs sometime.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but just getting beat in the river, bro. Like, y'all hear something.
All right, so Travis, we're going to actually... This is perfect. This is Travis's number 2, but it's
It works
also
out really nice.
Bryn's and my number 1.
It's like it's really good or something.
Yeah, or something.
Dim Carcosa is a fantastic scenario, and I think it does the best version of feeling like you're fighting the old one that is the theme of it. Haster, you're going crazy. He's going to make you go crazy.
Not just fighting him, but like fighting him on his turf.
Yes, yeah. Travis has a note that it's for the return to, and I agree.
Yeah, like in particular.
The extra step does make it a bit more flavorful and more challenging.
I really like pretty big spoilers here, but like how you could end up like just back in the theater and you're like, oh, it was all just a play.
Yes, yeah. Or you fight him in your throne room, or you fight him in Zibbity Zobbity space.
Yeah.
I wish we've never had the one. I don't think we have. I think I did it with Megan, but I don't think I did it with you guys.
That's because she makes suboptimal game decisions.
Where Haster is not on the board with you. He's just with you in every space. I want to do that one just to see the thing. But I like the fact that there's 3 different styles of Haster you can fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And like they're actually like, it's not just different mechanics, like a straight up different story.
Yes.
And I think that having read like the designer notes at the end, they did a very good job with what they were trying to do and leaving it open-ended and questioning like your character's sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how at the beginning of it, when you first sit down to play it, they're like, hitting your sanity cap doesn't kill you. You just get to keep playing. And so you're like, this isn't going to be a problem until you draw one of the cards where you're like, this is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how did I ever think this would not be a problem?
Yes. And then also it gives you the feeling right away where it's like you won't die if you lose all your sanity. So just for good measure, take half of your sanity's damage right now.
Just
like,
do it.
When you're able to prepare for it by having like a Carolyn Fern makes it a lot easier of a scenario, right?
Yeah.
But I still think the flavor of the entire thing outweighs that. Like the fact that you have to go to Carcosa, to the palace, get through, find the secret, and the secret is something to do with Big Papa H, while also having the fact that you still can't say, just as an entire testament to Path to Carcosa, the fact that you can have a way that you can't say Haster or you take damage works. It's just so good. In my mind, I haven't had as good of a meta thing like that since then.
No,
right?
I'm not sure if they will.
Yeah, like they've tried it on a few of them, like on the back of the Disappearance of the Twilight Estate. If you look at the card, it says you were being hunted. But
it
also
doesn't
doesn't
do
do
anything.
anything.
There weren't like there weren't any
Spoilers.
real.
It doesn't do anything.
They weren't any real consequences of it. Whereas this one, there's a very palpable consequence. Like you take damage.
It feels like you're breaking the rules of the game too, which is really cool with that. Having the map is very menacing as well. We can't do it on stream because it's too big, so we have to do it this way,
Yeah, we do
which
it
does
the
not
other
look
way.
as scary. But like, and then depending on if you came through the whirlpool or through the portal in the sky, you'll either start at the top or the bottom, which really doesn't have like a mechanical difference too much because they're very
pretty
similar.
Yeah.
And then there's the 2 fuck off enemies who both sit at like here and here that will hurt you for trying to flip a location.
For doing things, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And they're tough. If you're like trying to kill Haster, then suddenly it's like, hello, I'm an octopus, or hello, I'm a giant Byaku.
And like, yeah, I do like how they balance. You need to get clues off things, and you need to be able to deal with monsters, because there's like a point where you gotta find the key, and the Beast of
Yeah, you
Alderaan is
can't
like, hey boys.
You can't just sit somewhere and like fill yourself up with liquor and soup.
Yeah.
Not even the Beast of Alderaan, but the Beast of Alderaan as the lady from the party who says,
Oh, yeah.
"You're looking so fabulous. It's good to see you."
Why are you here?
This one's just a home run in my mind.
Yeah.
And I think on all of our minds, it was in the top 1 or 2 of all of our lists.
It was actually. We
It
just
was.
talked about that.
Travis, you're number 1.
Yeah,
Closing out the
different.
video is the Midnight Masks.
Yeah, this one's like real simple, but it's so good. It introduces it's a good introductory scenario after the first one, where like you actually get to play the game instead of being like streamlined through it or railroaded through it, and then it shows off like all the mechanics, all the basic mechanics of the game, but it's still like really, really hard to do good.
Yeah, I think it's also the one that teaches you you're not going to do perfect, right? Like you have to eventually stop.
Where you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Like there is a
It's-
perfect ending to this, but you won't see it.
Yeah, it's actually worse to push for as much as you can in most scenarios than it is or in most cases,
To just
than it
leave.
is to just like cut your losses or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I think it's so good. It could be its own board game. Like Fantasy Flight could just market this with like a couple bells and whistles, and it'd be good.
Yeah, I would. The Return to does also make it a lot better because it adds
There's a
2
little more
cultists,
variety
right?
with them.
Yeah, you're not facing the same set of cultists in the deck every time. They're going to be different.
It's also the first time that you get to see. I mean, if you're watching this video, I'm gonna assume that you've played this campaign. I hope you have. First time, like playing this for the first time, you flip it over the first agenda, you're like, holy shit, it's a monster.
Yes, yeah.
And he's hard.
You know what though? That even still blew my mind when we did the most recent one,
Yeah.
and I flipped it over and it was the Unnameable, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
This ain't right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's such a surprise, and then it also, as you as a player, you realize, holy, there's so much that can happen with this game. It's also there's a reason why it's our testing scenario
Yeah.
for our decks whenever we do
Yeah.
that.
It shows off everything.
Yeah.
I think there's one in the Forgotten Age. I forget what it's called that does a reasonable job of showing off that, but it's not as well crafted as this one.
Yeah, Threads of Fate. That
Yeah,
was the other
Threads
one that
of
we
Fate.
said could be a good.
That was my other Forgotten Age one.
Even
that made
even
it.
that standalone, the Egyptian one, Guardians of the Abyss. That one I think is also a fairly solid testing scenario, although it does have 2 parts, and if you don't play the second part, then maybe it's not not so good anymore.
Heart of the Elders could be a good testing scenario because you get to play with your cards for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but none of them are as well put together as this one.
Yeah. Midnight Mask is very good, and
It shows you how everything matters and how there's things that will crap on you for relying on your evasion, and there's things that will crap on you for not having a good foot score, and it does a very good job teaching new players like you can't do everything.
yeah, and then also on that note, if you play this multiplayer, that one's a great scenario because you're like, I can't. This guy shows up and this person's like, hey, I got 5 resources, I'll pay him off. Don't worry about it, right? It makes everyone useful at all points through the scenario, which I think there are times in future scenarios where they haven't been able to accomplish that as well as Midnight Masks has.
Yep, no, like if I was trying to get someone into this game, I might just show them this one instead of the Gathering.
The Gathering, yeah.
Assuming that they
if you had one scenario,
assuming they can pick, if they're like someone I play board games with regularly, I know that they'll pick up the rules fast.
Yeah.
I would just build a deck and throw them into this one as opposed to doing the Gathering. That was really good for teaching basic mechanics.
I think it's just as a side note, I think we do have to pay some respect to the Gathering of how good it is as a tutorial, where it's like, you have a room, all you can do, get clue, more room, bad guy, kill bad guy, super bad guy, go, right? I think it is, it's like...
walk in a room hurt you, and you're like, oh, that's life.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
And one thing that's never happened to us, because we too good, is the fact that the Ghoul Priest can show up in the Midnight Masks, which is also really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it ain't happened to us because we too good.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
no,
like,
it's...
I remember the first time we played the Gathering,
It was 2 hours
and
long.
he showed up, and it was like,
How do we kill
this
this?
has 20 health.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and we've got like the pre-built starter decks,
Yeah.
like
Like, I got
Travis
knife.
put together like all the suggested ones. Yeah, and we're like, we have knife, we have switchblade, and we have like our fighter character doesn't even have a gun or anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a machete. He's just got like
It
his
seemed
4 punch.
impossible. But now I remember that you and I did it, and we were like, just like killed him in one turn. We're like, okay, attack, was just blowing, and just fucking
Yeah.
kill this guy.
Yeah.
A pump full of 6 damage, just attack, 4 more next attack. Oh, that was easy.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching the top 5 scenarios. Travis made a big list. Spoilers. Pause the video. I dare you. But
Like they couldn't read my writing.
Yeah.
if you have any suggestions for things as well, put them in the comments below. We do read them, and we do like hearing them.
Tell us why you want to know our top 5 reasons why Mark Harrigan is the coolest investigator in the game right now.
That one will happen at some point.
I do see one on there that
Is similar to that?
and let us know your favorite scenario. If it's not Dim Carcosa, what are you doing?
Why are you wrong?
Have a good one, guys, and as always, GG's.